Hello friends and welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're going to make sweet potato cornbread muffins. So what you see on my counter is literally all you're going to need to make this, and really it is not hard to do. If you're noticing the two bags that are back there side by side, those are just corn muffin mix that's already mixed up for you. You can use any of your favorite brand you want to. I'm just using the small box version of these and I needed 2 of them. Other than that, you need at least 2 sweet potatoes. They can be medium to small size, some seasoning, some eggs, some sugar, some milk, some honey, butter, and that's it. This is what it's going to take. So we're going to preheat our ovens to 400 degrees because these are going to have to bake for anywhere from like 20 to 25 minutes depending. And we're going to take our sweet potatoes, put some slits in them. I'm using the microwave to cook these. It's just a quick and easy way. Throw them in there for about 7 minutes. They're done. Then let them cool and we can use them. So just get this out of the way ahead of time so they don't burn us when we're trying to use them. So I took my 2 packets of cornbread mix. I put them into a large bowl and I'm breaking it up just to make sure there's no lumps in this. And to this we're going to add some seasoning and some sugar. So in our seasoning we have about a half of a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, a half of a teaspoon of nutmeg, and a half of a teaspoon of cinnamon. We're going to put this in and mix it all through the mix that we already have here. And then afterwards, we're going to add at least a half a cup of sugar to this. And we're going to mix this in as well, because we just want to get this in there. This is going to give it flavor, sweetness. Now, mind you, the cornbread is already kind of sweet to begin with, but with this mix, we just want to add a little bit more sweetness to it. So now that our sweet potatoes have already cooled down, just take a spoon and scoop out the inside of it. It should be easy to do without it burning you or anything. It's had time to cool. We don't really want to burn our fingers on this. And just go ahead and scrape out as much as you can from both of the sweet potatoes, which basically we're looking for at least a cup of this. We're not looking for a ton of it. We're just trying to give some flavor from the sweet potato, but we're not trying to like overload it. So go ahead and scrape out the insides of both of them. And then when we get them into our bowl, we're going to mash them kind of in a way that you would do just like mashed potatoes. We just want to soften them up and break them up before we go to use them. So go ahead and work your way around this. It can be a little tricky getting the skin off, but for the most part mine peeled off pretty easily. It wasn't really a problem. And just work your way through it. Now mind you, you could have gotten a can of like sweet potato mix or whatever from the store. I didn't want to do that. I wanted the real thing. So as you can see, mine is scraped out really well. Put it into my bowl using my mashed potato smasher, and we're just mixing it up. And I find that after you do this a little bit, add some milk to it and it will actually help it really turn into a softer mix. So, you know, we already had our milk waiting to go into this, which we had maybe 1 1/4 cups of milk. We're just going to pour a bit of it in here and use the potato masher to actually just mix it through. So that way this goes ahead and mixes into it, makes it really soft, really mushy, and really easy to work with. So go ahead and just work this through. And then when we're done with that, we'll move on to the next bit. So as you can see, once that milk gets in there, it softens them up really nicely and they're easier to deal with and a lot easier to work with. And as you're going along, if it does actually kind of like cake up onto the end of your masher, just turn it to the side, knock it off, and keep on going. You're probably going to have to do this for about a minute or so. And then afterwards, we're going to transfer this over to where we already had the mix in the larger bowl. So we're basically adding some wet ingredient to the dry. And we're going to get this completely in. So that way we can mix this into it. Now we're going to pour in the rest of the milk that we had, so all of it's already in the whole thing, and we're going to mix this up to where really we're just making a batter out of this. And you're going to add in 2 eggs, and that's going to help us have enough moisture in here for this to actually bake up really nicely. And then once you get them in, you want to break up those yolks because we want to make sure they mix through really well. Now you can mix this with a spoon. You don't really need to do anything like use a mixer or whatever. It will do quite easily like this, or you could use a whisk if you wanted to. I find the spoon just works really well. And just go ahead and mix this completely through and make sure you scrape the sides to get all the dry off of there. And we're going to keep this going until we pull a lot of this into the whole mix, because we have a couple more ingredients to add to it. So the main thing you're trying to do here is like get this mixed together. There will be a few lumps in this, and that's just basically from the sweet potato, so that's okay, and we're not really worried about that. Then we're going to add in about 4 tablespoons of butter, which we softened up, or you can put it in your microwave and just melt it down a little bit and just mix that through. And then after this, the only thing you're going to add to this really at this point is you're going to put about a tablespoon of honey in this. And that's just going to give it a little bit of a sweetness that this needs to just set it over the top. So we're going to go ahead and bring that in. And once that's in, we're going to mix it into the whole thing. And pretty much at this point, your ingredients are here. Now, if you have not already preheated your oven, you need to do it to 400 degrees because these, like I said, 20 to 25 minutes bake time. But I'm making these as large muffins. Now, with the large muffins, you could get 12 of these out of this mix. If you're doing the small muffins, you literally could get 20, which is really great. I mean, it's just one of those things where depending on how you want to do it, I like the large ones just because, you know, it's easy to do. Now, with the large ones, I can never find the liners for my thing because I have a really huge one. So I'm putting a little shortening in the bottom of my muffin tin. And then I have these squares I cut out of parchment paper. And I'm literally going to put them in there, and they're going to be my liners because they work perfectly and they peel off so easily when you bake something. So all you need to do is, like I said, put the shortening in there, put in the liner, which is parchment paper, and just put a glass in there and push it in. It's going to smooth the sides out to where you basically have your hole there to pour your stuff into to bake. It's that easy. So if you're ever short of having the liners, this is the easy way to make them. And just go through and do each one of them before you go to bake, and it's that easy. So just make sure you have enough shortening to hold it, and then just go ahead and move on to your next one. And if it doesn't stand properly, just add a little bit more shortening to it. It's perfectly fine. They'll stand that way. And then when you get them all done, then it's ready for you to go ahead and fill them. And as you can see, mine are ready to roll. And once my oven is hot enough, I'm just going to pour in the mix into these and pop them in. So that's the best thing about it. Now, as you're putting this into it, just try to be neat. God knows I'm not neat. I will make a mess when I do things sometimes. It just happens. But if I didn't make a mess, it wouldn't be me. So we're going to go ahead and load these up and put them in. Now, again, I'm doing 12 of the jumbo size ones here. You can do 20 of the regular size. It's your choice. But you still need to preheat that oven to at least 400 degrees. Probably, you know, with my time, it took almost 25 minutes to bake these. But if you're doing the smaller ones, you might be able to get away with like 5 minutes less just for the fact that they're not the jumbos. So it's just one of those things where you kind of got to, like, you know, err on the side of checking it along the way if you're doing the smaller ones. And once these are all filled up, they are going into the oven. And that is basically it. Once these things are baked, I got to tell you, these were mine on a plate, and they had the best taste, and I really enjoyed them so much, and I think you might too. Just give this one a try. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you get a chance, check out the Southern Mountain Kitchen website, where you can get a free recipe, check out the cookbooks available from the Southern Mountain Kitchen, and if you'd like to, you could order a cookbook at a discounted price, cheaper than Amazon, with shipping that is also cheaper than Amazon. So if you get a chance, check it out, and I hope you have a great day.